My hat is my insurance agency, my shirt's my quotamation, right? So I'm wearing an insurance agent's hat, right? Insurance company's hat, insurance agency's hat, and I'm wearing a tech shirt because you have to wear we need people that wear these hats solve this problem.
Welcome to the Insurance Refocused podcast, where we're highlighting real agent stories and how they are innovating to respond to the changes and challenges happening in the independent insurance industry. My name's Lindsay, and I can't wait to introduce you to my amazing co-host, who just so happens to be my mom, Carrie Wallace. Mom, how you doing today?
It is going well. I'm excited to be home for a whole 2 days in a row. I know that is unique and very different, but I'm super excited. Yeah, how are you doing, Linz?
I am doing really good. Happy to be here in Hilton Head with you again, recording day. And we are headed to the Heritage Tournament this weekend, which will be super fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We got sunny blue skies for a change on a weekend. I don't know how the heck that happens, but it is a unique thing. But I'm super excited. We've got someone really cool with us this week. Cyrus Jaffery is joining us. And I got to tell you, it's the power of social media that brought us together, right? So Cyrus has a network of agencies. He also plays in the tech space in the insurance industry. And I think that it is someone that everybody should know. But by his own admission, he has his head down. He's working hard, and maybe some of you don't know. So I'm happy to introduce Cyrus, and thank you for joining us on the podcast.
Hi, Carrie. Hi, Lindsay. Thanks for having me. It's honestly an honor to be here.
Yeah. So Cyrus, give me an idea of first how you even entered into the space and what it is you do. Because I think we spent probably a whole hour on that when we first got introduced. But I'd love for you to give us a little bit about you and what it is you do.
Yeah, good question. So, as Lindsay said, she went into my LinkedIn and she's like, "What the hell do you do? You got so many to list." So, it's pretty easy for me. So we've got four verticals, and all of our verticals kind of started because just kind of doing the right things and having the right partnerships in the industry, and everything we do is intentional because I want to make a difference in this industry. This industry has given me a ton. I've been in the industry for about a decade, and I want to. Everything we do is like, okay, how do we give back to the industry that honestly, it's a little bit behind on technology and different things, right? So I feel like there's a lot of it's a good space to be in, obviously, because a lot of younger people coming in can kind of be more innovative and kind of change our industry's perspective and then take us to the next level. So I come from a captive industry. I was there for 6 years. And I left about 4 years ago to come on the independent channel, to just run an independent channel, just like a lot of captives. It's the right thing to do to own your own business and all of that stuff. So that's one of our. So I have four verticals, and that's one of my verticals is I own an organic insurance agency, and it's just driven on real estate and mortgage referrals. 95% of our business comes from a realtor or a mortgage, and it's very high net worth driven. So if you don't have a house or a house is about 500,000 is kind of our minimum. We really don't put you with our agency. So it's kind of a high net worth agency that we focus on. And we're very, very selective on who we have inside of our agency. So that's one of my verticals. It's been around for 10 years. It's called Jaffery Insurance. And I'm the founder and CEO. And we got a team of about 8 people inside of it that run the day to day. Our second vertical, as I left the captive channel, I got all direct codes right away just because of our background, and that's what kind of I wanted. And as I got the direct codes and the word got out that we left this captive company, it was a lot of people started calling me because we were 30th best agent in the country where we were that year, or the year before, and they're like, "What? Like this company? A lot of people don't leave 4 years ago. Now it's obviously people are leaving." And not as much, and I don't want to say the name, but this company is known to have keep their agents long term because they keep them in a box, obviously, and they don't understand what else is there. Because I was in a box, I had no idea until I came here. I'm like, you could do this? This is insane. Like, how did I not know this? So they're very, very good at that. That's their model. So anyway, so our second vertical started because a bunch of our friends called and said, "Hey, I'm with State Farm, Allstate, American Family Farm Bureau, and you did this. I would really love to do it. How do I do it?" I said, "Well, we did it. Maybe we could just come on board with us and we'll just kind of teach you here and there, pay me a little bit of fee for accounting. And it basically became like an aggregator model for us. There's about 35 agencies, captive agencies, and we have a requirement. You have to be in the industry for 5 years owning an agency to be on our side, just because we kind of want to work with people that we don't have to babysit, right? And we just want to work with those kind of people. And but they're willing to learn as well. Like, we want to teach them value. We want to teach them how to use technology and how to grow every year by $1 million or 500,000, whatever their goals are. Like, so those are the kind of agencies we focus on. So our second vertical is an aggregator model, that's CJ Insurance Group. Our third vertical, as I started doing some of these things, and I've had a lot of relationships in the mortgage and real estate world, a lot of mortgage and real estate brokerages that I was very close with that sent us a lot of referrals, was like, hey, like, is there an opportunity for a potential joint venture? So I said, sure, let's kind of learn the ropes and see how it goes. So 4 years ago, we started our first one right when I left. And now we've got about 10 of them and three other in the making. We go to big real estate corporations that have 1,000 real estate agents, and mortgage companies that do a lot of transactions. And we do a joint venture relationship with them, and open up their insurance agencies for them. So we've got a ton of those in our books. We do that with concierge services as well. So there's a company in St. Louis. They move people around from one state to another. They change all their utilities and ADT. So anything home driven, depends on how much volume they have. We have an opportunity to do a joint venture, and we encourage on that side. That's kind of one of my goals, is like to encourage a lot of agents across the country, that if you have these relationships with mortgage, real estate, concierge services, tech companies, car dealerships, let's have you open up these things instead of like technology companies that are coming in and having direct integrations with all these big mortgage companies, big real estate companies. Like, I believe in the agency model. I want the agents to have these relationships. And since we've done 8 to 10 of these, we can guide these agents from start to finish as far as what are some RESPA compliance, what are some DOI compliance, and all those things that we have figured out and spent a lot of money. We can guide these agents. So my calling on that side is, let's get all these agents to come on if they want to and if they are willing to. It's a big undertaking because there's a lot of work, obviously, when you work with 1,000 real estate agents. But it's possible, and I want to get that across in this podcast is, hey, those are the people we are looking for to come on. I'll help you, guide you with all of that stuff. So all three of these verticals, we go from a Jaffery insurance agency 4 years ago that was doing maybe 140 leads a month. Now we have to deal, because all these verticals, we're going to be doing about 60,000 leads, and these are all homeowners and more
Oh my
people
Lord.
that are well. I mean, our ideal client is a person that owns a home because they are educated, they have 2 cars, they're married, their ratings are really good, they understand insurance, they're not going to shop you around. So that's our ideal client within our organization. And so our fourth vertical started because I didn't want to hire 50 to 75 insurance agents to be able to handle the quoting with 20 carriers. Now, if you're an independent channel person, you understand your biggest headache right now is, which is why you're going to the VAs, is because you don't want to do the quoting and all these carriers and putting it into a CRM system and all of that stuff. But it's very, very important for your long-term strategy of having the right data to be able to sell, which, Carrie, you would know more about that, right? So having the right data plugged in, plugged out. So that side of it, I was like, there's got to be a technology that does these things. So a couple of years ago, we started looking. There's forms and stuff and different technologies that you can move stuff around. But I wanted a person goes in, plugs in Cyrus, Jaffery, date of birth, address. I want all the MSV information to pop up from APIs. I want all the vehicle information to pop up, driver information to pop up, and you can get a quote in 60 seconds. But it has a direct integration with your CRM management system, and then all the carriers have that info as well. So it takes my guys we've done the beta testing on this. We've got about 10 agencies on it now. It's saving every agent per quote about an hour and 45 minutes of time. Because,
Holy
yeah.
moly. Yeah. Hey guys, if you're looking to improve your bottom line, allow your team to operate efficiently, and really improve that customer retention, I believe you should check out Ascend. Ascend is the all-in-one insurance payment solution. They are focused on streamlining your invoicing, premium financing, accounting, and they'll even make your carrier payables for you. They are taking agency bill and making it as easy as direct bill. That is a game changer. They integrate with all of the major AMS players. And here's the best part. It's free. There is no subscription, no cost to you. They allow your customers to pay how they want. If you are interested in improving your efficiency, go visit ascend.com/insurance refocused and let them know that we sent you. You got to be kidding me on that. Like, here's the deal, Cyrus. That's the name of the game. If you're in personal lines right now, if you're not creating efficiency in that process, we know there's great pressure on the commissions that exist in personal lines. I don't care how high net worth you are. It is a volume game. And if you can't create that efficiency, it's really difficult to stay competitive in personal lines, correct? Yeah.
100%. And we do that's all we do. Like everything I do, like, so I learned this the hard way is that from my old captive channel. At a captive channel, you're the health insurance agent, you're a financial advisor, you're a life insurance agent, you're personal lines, you're a service person. You can't do it well. So all we do is personalize. My podcast is driven on personal lines. Everything we do is driven on personal lines. We focus on one product, which is homeowners insurance. Auto obviously comes with it, and that's what we focus on. So everything we have created is using our product and ideal client and then changing the game in that channel for us.
You have like 1.5 million jobs. It has to take such a strong culture and leadership style to be able to manage all of that and manage all the employees that come with that. Can you talk to me a little bit about your leadership style and how you have navigated that?
Yeah, great question. My leadership style is to make more leaders, like empower others to make decisions. I I come to the office and I kind of know what I want to focus on and which entity is bringing me money today and which entity needs the most help, if that makes sense. Because at the end of the day, I got to feed my family just like everybody else, right? So we're only 3, 4 years in. So it's not like we're sitting on $100 million book that we're just, so like that's not the case, or a $5, $6 million book that just all of it coming to me. So we're in a different place. So my leadership style is honestly, so when I go do any of these joint ventures, and every one of those I go find a CEO for it. So like I wouldn't go into a relationship where I have to run the day to day, because I am not going to. Like I just don't have the time. So anything we do is, the first thing is, okay, who is the right person that's going to run this? And then who is this right person's right hand? Because you need two people for all these things to run correctly. So my leadership style is that I go find the leaders in our organization, and we go to captive channels a lot to get at these guys because they know how to sell value. We have the price on the independent channel most of the times. It's like, if you know how to sell value, you're going to be ahead of the game. So we go find a lot of agents in the captive channel, bring them on. They become my right-hand person that runs the day-to-day. And then they have right-hands people under them that kind of run. So all I do every day when I come in our meetings is to say, okay, this is a problem we ran into. Hey, whose job is this? Which funnel does it fill in? Okay, this is this person's job. Okay, you go run this. And then one more thing I would share, we have a leadership meeting every 2 weeks. It's on a Tuesday morning. Every entity has a leader that's in that leadership meeting, and that's my time. And there's about 12 of us, I believe. That's my time where I know what's going on in all of our verticals inside of our organization. Everybody brings in stuff that happened in the last 2 weeks, what's broken, what's good, and we basically hash things out, because I don't want to make those decisions. An average person cannot make more than 1 or 2 good decisions a day. So for everything to come to me to make a decision, it would be impossible. I would just be making decisions all day for these other organizations that I'm not in the day to day. It's almost not even fair for that person that's running it. So nothing really comes towards me, because I've found these people and empower them to make decisions. And if something hits the fan mentality, then come to me and then let me fix it. Because right now I'm fixing a tech problem, and a lot of my time is spent on that. So, and my tech has 3 people that are heading it, and I just come in and say, okay, what are some things we need to do at this point, and kind of move forward. So anyways, to answer your question, my leadership style, simple. I empower others to make decisions, and I empower those people to find other people to make decisions and empower them. And that roller coaster keeps going down, and everybody is a good leader, in my opinion, at that point.
So I love that you have four verticals, and honestly, the first three are kind of intertwined, if you will. So I want to ask you about that first, but then we're going to move to tech because I find it fascinating what you've done with tech, and I really want to I think in order to be an agent of today and tomorrow, if you are not embracing tech, thinking about your staffing differently, focusing on efficiencies, I think you will compete with those that are, and it'll become harder and harder and harder to win. So that's where I'm going to go next. But before we leave these four verticals that you talked about, talk to me about the captive agents that you bring on. Do they own their book completely? Are they part of a network? Can you describe that for me? Because there's a lot of groups within our industry, and I'd love to understand the structure. Because if someone's listening here, I want them to hear what your approach is and your structure is. There's over 150 networks, clusters, alliances in our industry, and they're not all created equal. So I'd love to hear a little bit about that.
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest things I would tell you, our network, it was not built to become a network. It was built on accident almost, right? So everything that we do in our network is, hey, what value do we bring into these agents? Because at the end of the day, the money that we make from the network goes to the people that are running the network to basically do it. So I don't really make any money on it, and it's honestly a way to give back. And what we do different is we put a max on it, right? So like there's no reason anybody should be paying any network more than like $1,000 a month, because it's I hear from a lot of people that are like, hey, they got to pay 15% of their commissions to this network, but this network is this agency is now $10 million or $10 million, bringing you $1.3 million. 15% of that is quite a bit of money. That so my suggestion to a lot of agents is find an aggregator that gives you value, that elevates your game. That's how I look at the network side. It's like, what are we doing every day to bring in more value? Because we want these agents to be, because I know if an agent comes to me, I am in the day to day of like 12 different agencies. And these are agencies that are doing millions and millions and millions, right? In premium, personal lines only. So we only focus on personalized agents inside of our network. So we have a niche, and that's all we do. So if you're a driven personalized agency, you want to go to a network, put in my own shoes, you want to go to a network that has a weekly, almost like meeting that's set up every week that basically gives value. This week it's, hey, how do you win against American Family? How do you win against State Farm? How do you win against Farm Bureau? Role playing on a weekly basis, because that's what agents want. Agents want to know, and how do you maneuver around all these 20 carriers? Because that's a very, very tough thing for people to do, is leave captive, come on this channel where you have to go to 5 different places and log in and plug in stuff to get just a quote. Like, it's a nightmare. So and as a network, we have decided to say, hey, build this tech, give this proprietary tech to our network first for a discounted price, because we want them to succeed, give them value, teach them things that they don't know. So we take a hands-on approach in our network model. Is every week there's training, every week there's open communication. They walk into my office anytime you want, or any of our people, they can come in. Our network people, there's 3 of them here right now hanging out with our sales guys, because they just want to see what people are doing that are successful. So those are the kind of people we want to hang out with in our network, because we want them to write more business. And to write more business, you need efficiency, you need tech, you need understanding, and you need to have some people that have your back. The biggest thing that I miss about my captive channel is the camaraderie of the people, of the agents. They did such a good job of, like, we had 50 agents in our town or wherever, in Omaha, Nebraska. We were very close. There was always meetings. We hung out together. We learned from each other, and across the country as well. Like, that really was very strong. And I don't see that on this channel. So we want to provide that for the captive to feel comfortable leaving a place that they have been for 10 years and financially pretty happy. But long term, it's cancer being there, as we all know.
Yeah. So it's basically focused on captive and personal lines. Other than that, you're not the place for them, because if you're not a captive going to independent, or you're not personal, you're not built for those agents, right?
We are not, and I think a
Yeah.
lot of
And it's okay.
aggregators. a lot of aggregators just want to do it all. And it's okay for them. That's completely fine. But for us, we're narrow focused because I think we can get accomplished a lot more. And for me, my life mission has become to impact 1 million people. And I feel like this is how I can really impact 1 million people, because these insurance people need help and we want to help them and solve a problem for them. And I think it helps. It works for us.
And honestly, I kind of feel the same way. I feel like we all have gifts. And if you're able to share what you know to help someone else be better, that's a gift in and of itself. So I'm in an industry where the average person doesn't have a business background. They just don't. They've got coverage backgrounds. There's no one teaching them how to actually run their business like a business. And I feel like that's the thing that I give. Lindsay has a gift in marketing. Like, she has a different view of what marketing is than what my generation has. And she can help people see that differently, which is kind of cool. So I love that approach. All right, so I promised you we were going to tech because
Can I
obviously,
can I add one
yeah,
more thing on that real quick before we
yes,
go?
of course.
So when an agent comes in and says they don't have no idea, they don't know how to do some of these things. So partnerships, for example, there's so many of our agents in our network that I encourage. I'm like, hey, listen, like Matic and some of these companies that are direct to consumer and they're doing all these partnerships with mortgage and real estate and car dealerships. I'm like, guys, this have to be you guys, because unless you want to lose your job in the next 10 years of technology companies coming in and taking your job, you got to be ahead of the game. You got to have these relationships with these mortgage and real estate and tech companies and concierge services. Because how many of your home loan companies are? I got a call yesterday from my friend who says, "Hey, there's my home loan company calling me, said I'm paying too much for insurance. Should I go with them?" I was like, so everybody's trying to come get our job, and it's your job as an insurance agent to not sit in your desk, be innovative, go have these partnerships, because you can, and we will help you with that. So we're telling our team of 35 agents that are with us, saying, guys, every day, go find these partnerships, because we're on a mission to keep our jobs for a long time. And I don't want to lose our job for these tech companies, because they've made it really easy, which is why we build the tech, which is where we're going next, to help compete with those big players, but use agents to compete, not just because we understand agency model is what I believe in.
Well, here's the thing. There's a lot of insurtech. It's one of the biggest investments that I think there's more people investing in insurtech than probably any other segment. I understand this year with interest rates rising, the insurtech investment looks different, but I looked at a chart recently and the US investment in insurtech is about 2 times what the rest of the world is doing. It's insane. So Quotamation is the tech company that you have created, and it's really focused on building automation around the quoting process in order to create the efficiency in personal lines, correct? Tell us more about that. Tell us how, first of all, tell us the journey that it goes to, because I think everybody sees the end game of what
Yeah.
happens and they don't really know. I don't know if you knew this, but my first career was with a tech startup, so I saw like birth to IPO inside a tech startup. Tell me about your journey in creating this and what that looks like, and then really what it does and what agents should know about it.
Yeah, great question. So obviously I'm not from tech, right? So when we looked at this 2 years ago, there was nothing that I saw that existed. That I always think any decision I make, it's like, is this going to help us 5 years from now? Like, our service team comes in all the time and says, hey, we can implement this. Like, this would be awesome. I said, well, we can do that, but does this solve a problem 5 years from now? So always think of scaling. Like, as a company, like, every decision we make today should be, okay, if our business 10x, can we do the same thing? Whether it's management systems, CRM, all those things, right? So, and a lot of people don't do that. They're in the present so much that they forget that things are going fast and you're going to get to a next level. So I encourage a lot of people to think that way. And that's how we were thinking 2 years ago was, okay, we want to build this, and because it really doesn't exist. And I wanted to solve a problem for myself. So I'm an insurance person solving an insurance problem. I'm not a tech person solving an insurance problem, right? Because they
Which is
just look.
key, by the way, which is super, super key, because when it's a tech person solving an insurance problem, that doesn't work, unfortunately. So I don't mean to interrupt you, but it's really, really key that insurance people solve insurance problems and learn the tech in order to make that happen. I go ahead, but that was a soapbox that had to be stepped upon, just so you know. So yeah.
Yeah, and as you can see, my hat is my insurance agency, my shirt's my Cotamation, right? So I'm wearing an insurance agent's hat, right? Insurance company's hat, insurance agency's hat, and I'm wearing a tech shirt because you have to wear. We need people that wear these hats solve this problem, right? So I think that's what a lot of people. So we wanted to do that, and we said, okay, let's do it, right? And here's why a lot of people don't do it because what we've learned it takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of money and a lot of time to build a tech company, right? Because tech people, first of all, cost a lot of money. And if you're not in tech, you got to learn tech. And learning tech is not easy, right? So you have to go find the tech, find the people to partner with, give equity. You got to learn about all these different things that you had no idea. And it's really scary. It's just like leaving a captive channel, coming on the independent channel. It takes a while for you to make that decision, especially if you're really, really successful. So it's a very, very hard thing to do. So it was the same thing. Lots of money that was spent on this. And here's what we did. We combined with a company out of Florida called, I don't want to name them, I guess, but let's say we combined with this company out of Florida. We said, okay, you're our tech company. Build us. Here's what our vision is. They go into work. 8 months later, we spent about 150,000. The product was crap. Like it was just terrible. So we literally spent 150,000, and this is my second year in insurance. So like I don't have a lot of money to spend on insurance, right? On tech. So we literally put it away completely, burnt it, started from scratch a year later with a different company out of Lincoln, Nebraska, and now our product is amazing. But the best thing we did was do that. But it was a very, very good lesson. Like I've dealt with adversity like all my life. I'm originally from Afghanistan. My mom and dad are born in Afghanistan, and I was there till I was 14 years old. Our house got bombed when we were in the house, like because Taliban's back in the early 90s invaded Kabul, Afghanistan. They bombed our house. My mom taught me how to get out of the house and took me out, and we walked for 2 weeks to get to. Anyways, long story short, I've dealt with adversity like every part of my life. And a lot of people, when this happened, they'd be like, it's not for me. I lost 150,000, move on, right? No, like you got to keep going, because a lot of people quit in the beginning, like an Elon quit, or at all these people. If they would have quit in the beginning of all the mistakes they made, Amazon wouldn't be here, and all these great companies wouldn't be here. So we think of it that way. Like we think of it as, hey, we're just going to keep going. So got with the company CTO out of Lincoln, combined with them. So our product, what does our product do? It's at a place right now to where it's in 10 agencies now, internally, that I own. We got all the beta testing out of the way. Basically, the gist of the product is that any question that you have to ask a client that they have to think, hey, what's your VIN number? Hey, what's your driver's license number? What's your wife's driver's license number? What carrier do you have? And all those things. Any question that you give an ability for another person to think gives them an ability to opt out, right? So we just said every data point that we have with Quotamation, it's easy things that a person will have to know. And if you don't know, you don't want this person as a client. Because if Carrie Wallace doesn't know her date of birth, like you probably don't want them as a client. And if they don't know your address that you're living in, like that's tough, right? Because you need the address. The address pulls based on a company we picked up. Address pulls all the VIN numbers, all the house square footage, and everything for the house. Address pulls all the vehicles, all the drivers. So all you're asking the client is, hey, Carrie, what's your first name, last name, date of birth? Perfect. Do you drive a 2016 Toyota versus before? Hey, what vehicle do you drive? Oh, I drive a 2016. Do you have the VIN number? I don't. Who has their VIN numbers?
Nobody has their VIN number, right?
So, hey,
no one, absolutely no one.
No,
Yeah.
they don't. Half of the people don't even know their driver's license numbers, right? Or they don't have it in front of them. So everything we have built is things we ran into, hiccups we ran into in our organization, to where a client says, I'll call you back, and then we never heard from them. We called them 10 times. We wasted so much of our time. So now you go into Quotamation, plug in Carrie Wallace, date of birth, address. It pulls the house information. Mr. Client, you have 3,000 square feet, right? Basement's finished, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, blah, blah, blah. Where the roof was replaced in 2019, correct? Yep. Move on to the next one. Hey, just to confirm, Your wife Carrie lives there, right? Perfect. Does your daughter Lindsay live there too? I have her pulled up here. No, she left. You could remove her. Next page, hey, just to confirm, 2016, 2012. Yes, cool. Boom, you got a quote with 10 different carriers, and those 10 different carriers, now it's automatically in your Easy Links or any AMS 360 or anybody you use, and it's with all the carriers automatically as well, because we hit an API through our CRM system that basically pulled all the carriers. So now that's your conversation is more like, do you have this? Do you don't have this? Hey, here are my three options. So in about 10 to 15 minutes, you can get a client from start to finish done by using Quotamation, and you can get the quote in 45 seconds.
So let me put my agent hat on just for a minute. So when you say you have APIs and which I love, because I will tell you the average agent says APIs, don't even know what that is, don't know how that solves my problems, whatever. When you say you have APIs with carriers, how many carriers are we talking about? Like, who does this apply to?
Every carrier that's in your management system, rating system, every carrier that you can think of, because this Quotamation is directly built behind like an Easy Links, to where anything that's in your management system, and we picked Easy Links, and we can integrate with every management system. We picked Easy Links because personal lines is heavy driven on Easy Links. Easy Links, a lot of big aggregators use Easy Links. A lot of personal lines people use Easy Links. So we picked Easy Links because 60-70%, we have a direct partnership with Easy Links. So anything that pulls up on Easy Links, you can get a quote from Easy Links. You can directly get a quote from Quotamation as well. Every carrier.
It's huge. I mean, if you've listened to anything that I talk about, is now I would take that and say, how much time and energy did you save? And what does that mean to now you can move that person's time to either prospecting more, account rounding more, whatever it is, servicing your clients more. So your retention goes up, your new business goes up, because the time isn't the back and forth in order to do these things, which as soon as you create time or space, it turns into increased value of your agency, period. Like, that is how my brain works. So as you're doing that, I'm like, okay, you saved 30 minutes on every single quote at times X number of quotes. What does that translate to? New business, retention, whatever. That's the name of the game. It truly is.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I would
And
add on the back end, like, honestly, people got to requote. The beautiful part about this is, like, listen, your renewal process, there's an agency in Nebraska, it's the biggest agency. They have 11 people on payroll. It's a big bank. They have 11 people on payroll that all they do is the people that want to be shopped around. Now, guys, if you have Quotamation, like, it's already picking up the data, like everything is already there. Your renewal process is literally, the client can do it themselves, or you could do it for them within 10 minutes. So you just saved 11 people's payroll if you're a huge agency by integrating Quotamation. So go ahead, I cut you there for a second.
No, it's a massive impact. And I think when you compound it, listen, there's not a one size thing that solves everything inside an agency, but you've taken a large time challenge inside agencies, especially in the hard market we're in today. I can imagine it in some marketplaces where this is all they're doing is requoting. So, you've got to really think about the impact it can have. Do you want to share like what the cost, what the implementation looks like for Quotamation? Because listen, not everything's not a silver bullet. There's all kinds of things that go with using technology. And I'd love to at least talk about that. And, this might be a fit for some of our listeners. It might not be a fit for some of our listeners, but they should at least be aware that something like this is out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So cost was something that we determined by beta testing inside of our agency. Like, how much time did it save every agent inside of our organization? So on average, it was about an hour and a half, or whatever I said earlier, is what it saved every agent per quote. So if you do 3 quotes a day, I literally gave you 4.5 hours of your time back. And the other thing I would add is, what do insurance agents hate the most, right? The grunt work, the things that they don't want to do. They love selling. So if you just tell somebody, all you got to do now is sell, like you're going to keep your employees for a very long time, especially insurance sales agents, because they just love being there, but they don't like doing all this little work and the quoting and 20 carriers and problem solving, all of that stuff. So I want to make sure that you understand, and our price is honestly, it's $299 for 2 users. Like there's $299 a month for 2 users. There's literally no contract, nothing. Hey, use it. If it helps you, be my guest, keep using it. If it doesn't help you, it's okay. It's not for everybody, right? So, but we would love to just kind of get this out to the community, because at first it was like, I'm gonna keep it to myself. And then I'm like, man, does it really impact people? Are we really changing the industry? And we said, no, no, no. Let's give it this white label it. So our team has been working on the white labeling piece of it. So it'll be your agency logos, your logins, everything is yours. It's going to look like it's your tech company, honestly, because the client won't know any better. It's just powered by Coordination, any agency that you have. So it's going to have all of the stuff of your own, and implementation is super easy. $299, 2 users, and every additional user would be $99 for you to be able to use Coordination. So I feel like $299, if you think about it, in one day you can make that money back by the time that you saved, if you think about it. So I don't see it being a huge issue right now. Now we are talking to some really big players. One of them I really love. You connected me with them, is Weston Labs 101, and they have contacted us 2 or 3 times. They really want to work with us. We really want to work with them. We've got a couple of other VCs that we want more money, because as we get more money, we can go to a Canopy Connect integration right away, to where like people can log into Canopy Connect. So you get a side-by-side comparison of their insurance versus your insurance. We added the life insurance implementation in there. We want to add we want to fine tune the renewals. And it's not that we want more money for us to make more money. We want more money to be able to make this a product that's honestly somebody that can live without, and it can do all of it into one. And then obviously I love the Weston 101 Labs, because they want to work with insurance agents. They want to solve this insurance problem with us. So we're going to partner with Avi Knight and Pat Klein and them over there. We've had conversations with them to kind of take this to the next level and help us kind of guide us there. So we're really looking forward to that. Yeah.
It is very impressive that you're running and managing all these different companies, and that you're an involved parent and husband and have 3 kids under 6, and you're doing all these things, like, and going into a tech accelerator, starting from, nuts and bolts, getting this going. How are you maximizing your time and accomplishing your goals in a way that's effective?
Yeah. If somebody told me today, like after all this, like let's say we get $1 billion valuation of every one of our entity into one, like that's kind of what we just throw out there all the time. Um, I would say that's not even the goal. Like the goal is honestly, if my daughter Sophia and my son Jonah and my son Mateo are good human beings, like I've done my job, right? I like all the work stuff I truly enjoy, but like at the end of the day, people don't realize where else you can make impact. And the biggest impact, the best thing you can do is raise good human beings to be able to basically get them to go into the world. It's a crazy world right now. So like honestly, parents today have the most important job, because this next generation that comes, that are going to be my kids' generation, it's honestly almost like it's scary to think like what are some things happening. So like I just take that seriously, honestly. So like I'm one of those guys that intentional timing and all that stuff with my kids. Like if I don't spend 4 to 5 hours with my kids a day, like so I'll go back to one thing. My wife taught me all this, by the way. So like one of the biggest lessons my wife taught me was when I left my captive channel. Now listen, we were 30th best in the country. We were rocking and rolling. Like financially, we would have been set for life if we would have stayed there. But it just didn't fulfill me every day doing what I was doing. So I told my wife, I said, I'm doing this. My wife's dad is that captive agency for 30 years. So my wife has grown up in this captive agency, went all over the world and like done things that like a lot of people cannot do. And she said, and I begged her for months to go do it. And she said, okay, you can go do it if you're home at 4:30 every day. So, okay, so that was her only speculation, and that was her only stipulation, that you could go do it if you could be home at 4:30 every day, and Saturday and Sunday you will not do any work. And there's not one day in my life that I've worked past 4:30. and have worked on a Saturday or Sunday since I've left in May of 2019 because, like I said, at the end of the day, there's all this stuff is great, the things we're doing, but none of it compares to being a parent and raising good human beings.
Well, amen to that. I would be remiss if I didn't say raising a good human being is number one on my list as well. And getting to do some work with that good human being is even more important. And so, what you don't know is I took 12 years off to raise good human beings and came back and honestly, part of my stipulation of getting back in the workforce is I wouldn't miss a horse show. I wouldn't miss a tennis match. I wouldn't miss anything. And I stayed pretty true to that, which is a difficult thing to do, but it's just a matter of prioritization. There's no two ways around that. And you know what? You can build all kinds of things. It's just a matter of being intentional. Now I'll tell you, I travel all over the world, but at the time I didn't. I was there and I got to see and be present. I think being present is a really important thing. And I think that's why we don't see you all over the place. You're very present, you're very present, but you're not going to be at every you're not going to be at every conference. You're not going to be, on social media all over the place. You're working hard and you're raising your family, which is awesome. So hats off to you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just that kind of a lifetime for me. Like it's just timing is extremely. So if somebody came today and said, "Hey, I'm gonna give you this, this, and this, and I need you to travel and do this thing," and like there's so many opportunities that come to me all the time, and I'm like, you know what? Like that sounds like a great. I'm really honored that I'm invited to this or doing this, but I just can't do it, man. I just can't do it today in my life. So I don't take on. I've lost a lot of opportunities. I've lost a lot of friendships sometimes, and I've lost a lot of knowledge, right? Not being at some of these places. But if it's meant to be, I truly believe that at one point it will happen. I think the more you force it, the more you get away from what's really important. And like Carrie said, like this is my 12 years. Like I will, the time will come. I've got 11 more years where my daughter is out of the house. Like I've got 11, I don't even have 12 years. I've got 11 years left now. So like all that stuff will come, but today it's extremely important to me to do this. And then when the time comes to we're on top of a mountain with $1 billion valuation, I want to make sure I'm holding those kids' hands and my wife's hands and my team's hands, not there by myself because I work my A off in the 11 years that I shouldn't have.
That's right.
Yep. So agents are always super involved in their community. I saw that you are involved in a nonprofit. You sit on their board called Ava's Army. Will you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, man, I love this nonprofit thing. So like I think there's so many people that have helped me throughout my life, like from Afghanistan to Pakistan to being as a refugee with knowing no English in 2002, moving to Colorado and playing soccer and people giving me rides. I know the value of time today. There's a gentleman, Brian Robinson and his dad, that would literally spend 3 hours driving me around, coming picking me up and taking and I just can't like so it's a way for me to give back to people that would never have that opportunity and it's a way for me to I'm in a position now to where Afghanistan in 2021 the Taliban came back and invaded Afghanistan. I started a nonprofit to be able to help those people that are in the US now knowing no English. I was that guy getting them clothing and grocery store and cars and teaching them about things and so all that stuff is really important to me. And Ava's Army came to me because Ava's a 6 year old that had cancer, and my daughter is a 6 year old, and I met her, and I just couldn't imagine like anybody going through cancer at that early age, pediatric cancer. And she fought through it. She's 9 or 10 years old, and her mission is to change people's life. And because what you go through when you go through cancer at that early age is the things they put into your body are the same things that they put into a 60 year old. And your body at 6 year old, 5 year old does completely things opposite than a 60 year old. So it just messes up with their life for the rest of their life. So Ava's Army's mission is to empower people that are younger and find a different cure for cancer. So we raise money every day to so, anyways, it started because I got to know Ava and I fell in love with her. And now my goal is I'm on board and I'm spreading the mission to different places. And Liberty Mutual Safeco just give me 10 grand for Ava's Army and other places. So like I'm just so honored to be involved in that because I have 3 kids. I couldn't imagine my kids going through it, and I don't want other kids to feel like they're alone when they're going through that.
Right. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing so much about your personal life and your goals and how you balance the awesome work that you're doing with your family. If other agents want to connect with you or find out more about Quotamation,
Yep.
where can they find you?
So so you can Cyrus Jaffery. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram at Cyrus Jaff. I'm on LinkedIn as well as Cyrus Jaffery. Quotamation. If you just go to quotamation.com, QUOTAMATION, Quotamation. If you go to quotamation.com, you can learn a little bit more about it. And also. Honestly, my email is cyrus@teamcyrus.com. If an agent wants to learn more about the real estate relationships, mortgage or Quotamation, or honestly, just so many agents call me and say, "Hey, I've got young kids. I see what you're doing. Like, can you talk to me a little bit about what that looks like? Because I've got away from it. Like, I literally am on a mission to help agents and other people just kind of work-life balance. But at the same time, work-life balance does not mean your work is secondary, right? Like where it is, but like you can be exceptional at what you do on all ends of things if you know how to manage your time correctly.
Well, Cyrus, it's been a pleasure. I am so glad you reached out and we had a chance to meet with you. And I'm sure this will not be our last conversation. Thank you so very much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. Thanks, Lindsay.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Insurance Refocused podcast. If you enjoyed the episode, please be sure to hit subscribe and leave us a review so you'll never miss us. Want to learn more about how Agency Focus can help you grow your agency? Head to agency-focus.com or email Carrie directly at carrie@agency-focus.com. If you need to get in touch with me, feel free to shoot me an email at lindsay@agency-focus.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week.